Babe, I found something on the street in the neighborhood. Let's go get it.
This is a pretty stable table. I'm not in love with these legs. I'm debating if I'll do anything with them different. One side is it's obviously an older table, but who knows how old. The top is completely ruined. It's gonna have to be refinished, resanded and refinished. It's obviously been stained with and that stain is worn off. I have no idea how old this table is. Can't be that old. It's got square bit screws on it. But it's pretty solid. It's probably not that terribly old. It's probably 20 years or so old, my guess. Okay, I've debated about what I'm going to do with this table quite a bit. I discussed it with my wife, and quite honestly, I think I'm just going to rebuild the whole table and basically have a new table with old wood, right? I'm going to try to use and salvage all this wood, right? And use the wood in the original table. I do not like this scalloping. I don't like the style. I don't like the way it looks. I don't mind the knot holes. I kind of like the knot holes, but I don't like the scalloping. After discussing with my wife, we're not going to have a drawer at all. I'm going to have the skirts be only 2 inches deep, and we're going to get rid of the drawer entirely. I'm not in love with the legs the way they're set up. I'm going to pull the legs apart, and then I'm going to glue them back to back and make solid square legs that taper, okay? And then this shelf, I do like the shelf, but the shelf is going to need some love to be right. So the first step is going to be taking this whole thing apart. I'm going to take off the top. I'm going to take off everything that's screwed on, and hopefully whoever made this didn't do a lot of gluing with screwing. When this whole project is over, this table will either be in the trash bin or will not look anything like it does today. All right, here we go. Oops. I thought at first this might be a antique, but this person was using a nail gun to make this thing, and then they nailed from the outside in, irregardless of cutting through wood, I guess because he knew he was going to stain anyways. She knew he was going to stain anyway, so they just filled in the holes that was created. This table is bound to be way better than it is now when I'm done with it. We'll see. I'm going to try to pull apart the remaining pieces. We'll see how that goes. I'm thinking, even though I got this for free out of somebody's trash, I still may have paid too much for this. I'm going to knock off just a little bit off the rounded side, then for the whole length, then I'm going to turn it around and knock off just shaving off the flat side to straighten it up and make it much nicer and clean up all the residual glue. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, I'm going to do something that's completely new for me. I have never tried to do this, but you know, as we grow and we make strides into our craft, we should try things that we've never tried before. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make hand-cut mortises. I'm still going to use a table saw for the tenon. I don't see the point in not doing that. But for the mortise themselves, I'm going to lay them out and hand cut them. You know, this may fail, but this project isn't that important in the first place, so it's a good practice project. If it comes out all right, all the better. If it doesn't, well, that's not so bad. We as power tool woodworkers get in the habit of doing things with power tools, and we always assume it's going to be faster with a power tool. However, I just cut this hand cut mortise with just a chisel, mortising chisel, a regular chisel, and a mallet. Now, this is my very first one. Actually, it might be even my second one. That might be my first. They're not perfect because I am not in the practice of doing this. But I can say doing this mortise took a lot less time than it would have taken me to set up a router and make a jig for it just to cut 8 mortises. Whatever, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to sneak up on the pit slowly because since these are hand cut, they're not precise. And if I go ahead and cut all of the tenons right now, I will possibly make them many of them too small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test the last tenon I cut on the next mortise after I've done the first one, and if it's too tight, then I know to tighten it just a little bit, but I'll still make that first cut at the same thickness and try it, and then just keep on sneaking up on it. And it's not that big of a deal, it's only 8 cuts, and since I'm not a manufacturer, it's not like I need the best efficiency in the world anyways. All right, doing a dry fit up, and everything's looking kind of good. I got some cleanup still to do to it, but one mistake, pretty significant mistake. From this angle, it looks good. This leg and this leg match up nicely, and same thing over there. However, I made a mistake. And the mistake was I left the wide leg wide. And that's not so bad on its own, but I cut the mortise in the same place. So there's one of two ways I could do this. What I was thinking when leaving the wide leg wide is the wide legs would be facing the outside and the narrow legs on the inside against the wall, and you'd really never notice that they're really that much narrower. So I got one of two ways to fix this. One is to make the legs match, and that could be okay. And the other solution is to shorten this skirt here by the appropriate amount. If I make the legs match, I'll have to cut new mortises. If I shorten the skirt, I'll have to cut new tenons. Cutting tenons is a little bit easier than mortises. However, I haven't made a decision as to what to do yet. I will call the boss in and see what her thoughts are, and we will go with the instructions from the supervisor. Hold on, and I will find out, and I'll let you know what the results are. So, a third option, which I didn't even entertain in my world, was to make 2 new back legs instead that match the front legs. That way we can taper. There's going to be enough meat to taper, and it'll give me a new experience to practice on my mortising and take my finger out of the camera. So we will start working on that next. All right, off camera, I remade the legs and remortised them. And since I remortised them, I had to make new tenons on the skirts. I don't have it tight, so it's just sitting here right now. That's why it doesn't look perfect. It looks a lot better. I'm very happy with the way this came out. Comes the stage that I'm kind of been nervous about on this project is I want to put the shelf about 6 inches. It can be a little lower, it could be a little higher, it's not that important. But I want it to be about 6 inches up. And so I'm gonna have to do 2 things. One, I'm gonna have to cut notches on the inside corner of the table, right here, right, to accommodate the shelf. And then once I got those notches cut, I'm gonna have to cut a diagonal on each corner of this shelf. I still got a little bit of shaping I want to do to this table, but it is looking very nice. I used the bandsaw to cut off the corners, and then I used the hand plane to make the corners nice and straight and flat. And yeah, it looks good. So this table is looking way better than the way it did when I got it. And the only wood that I have added is the replacement legs where I messed up on the originals. It's looking good. I really liked how that shelf was shaped in a little bit. So I'm gonna do that. But I'm gonna do it my way. And once that is done, we'll do a glue up and go from there. Off camera, I drilled and marked where I want to cut off the outside edge. By doing that, I have now given the legs a more gentle footprint. I wanted this to still be straight, but by doing that, it looks more delicate. I don't know. We'll see. I decided to do some pyrography on the shelf, and I decided this Celtic knot. I am pretty pleased how it came along, but I have to say the lessons learned are, first of all, pine is not a very good wood to wood burn. Secondly, even though I know better, it's really hard not to press hard on the wood burner and go too fast. You need to go slow with a light touch. But as I do this, I'll get better. I would say this came out all right, in my opinion. Finally, just remember, after every woodworking project, you should always count your fingers. You end with 10, good job.